it's just inspired me. I really feel privileged to be here, and it's opened up a new world for me. I never thought I'd be this interested in books.
Each time we read a story, each time we read a poem, we explore a different life, a different time, a different perspective. And I really quite enjoyed that adventure.
You're exposed to stories that you may never have heard about. You can enjoy the process of doing it together with other people, so you experience the story together, which is a big advantage over perhaps a book group where people come with an idea of what they're going to do.
I'm not well read. I never went to university, didn't have long stays at school, and I was worried about that at first, but I've never been made to feel any different, and I just enjoy it so much.
So we're all very individual, we didn't know each other, but now we're very, very much a cohesive group.
I'll describe the reading group as
absolutely fabulous.
Diversity, inclusiveness.
Stimulating.
It's empowering.
Peace. I feel peace in here.
informative.
Brilliant.
Life, because I think when we talk about literature, we are talking about life.
I'm Ren James. I run the Coventry Reading Round group, and I've been running it since November last year.
I'm Jess Billen. I'm a children's author and I'm the Reading Round Fellow at Bath.
My name's Julian Burkitt, and I've been running this Reading Round group in Islington for 2 years.
So I've worked a lot with the Royal Literary Fund. I was a fellow at Aston University in Birmingham, and they're such an amazing organisation to work with. They care so much about author wellbeing and helping encourage your growth as a writer. But in particular, the appeal of this is that I get to both do my job, which is reading and then talking about books and then writing my own, and then also get to experience the joy with other people. The reading as a group was the key part for me of my connection and my love of literature. And the reading round groups really get back to that joy of reading something and then discussing it and seeing how different people have different opinions on it, and where you come together and kind of dissecting what the author has done and why they've made those kinds of decisions.
What's special about this is the reading of a story live and together. And I don't think that's something you find anywhere else. Normally what happens when people study literature is that they do the reading beforehand, they arrive with a preconceived notion, they're generally pretty keen to defend their own point of view. This is completely different. We arrive fresh, we read the story from the beginning together, we stop in the middle and we share our experiences. What is it making us feel? How does the writer get us to this place? What do we think is going to happen? So the great thing for me is that it's live and it's communal. Everybody's equal and we all move forward together, and there's something tremendously satisfying about that.
I knew before I applied for it that it was an opportunity to explore literature, to share my love of literature with a group. And I was an English teacher for a long time. That was my main career. And I really, really loved being immersed in prose, poetry. So for me, it was an opportunity to go back there.
People joining the reading round groups are really going to vary based on the time of day and the day of the week where you choose to base your group. So I run my group on a weekday lunchtime. So I get a lot of older retired people who have older grown-up kids, and they tend to join the group because they have a love of reading, but they don't get enough time for it, or they maybe don't get to read outside of their comfort zone of the kind of books they enjoy. So when we started, they all came in with very clear likes and dislikes and said that they were very scared of poetry and they really didn't like sci-fi, and they had all these clear things in mind. And over the course of the months of doing the sessions, they've really opened up and expanded what they enjoy reading. But I do think that if you ran your group in an evening or in a city centre, I'm out in the suburbs, you're going to get a different demographic who are maybe a different kind of people or looking for different things out of it. So I think it can vary a lot from group to group.
Some of them are what you might call literature nuts, and some of them just would like the experience of something a little bit more formal in the way that they read.
Somebody who wants to meet people and somebody who wants to do something fresh and new. And someone, I guess, who has a love of literature, but they want to reignite it.
Sometimes I've had email inquiries from people who do want to join, but they don't know if it's right for them or if they have to have a certain level of education or something. And I always reassure them that the point is that we're going to learn together and we're going to be developing our skills as a group. And they'll get a copy of the story to read along with. I've had a few people worried that either English isn't their first language or they're not very good at, they're quite deaf or hard of hearing. So they like having something to read along with so they can go at their own speed and look up words. So reassuring them that we can make accommodations for them and that it's a small group of the same people every week really helps, especially with people who need a bit more attention to make sure that it accommodates them.
I think the only advice that I would want to give to someone starting a reading round for the first time is be prepared to let people say what they want to say without prompting them too much. It's very tempting. You've read the story, you know where it's going, you've read the poem, you know what it's about. Just be prepared to sit in silence for a few minutes and let people get there on their own. It's much more interesting and much more rewarding.
Leading an adult group can be nerve-wracking, but what you realise is that you're holding the group. You know, I sort of felt that I had to maybe be the clever one in the group, but I don't think that you need to think like that because everybody has a contribution to make. And although I always do research and give some background afterwards to the group, it's about putting the questions to the group and making sure that everybody's involved, that nobody feels that one person is dominating. So those kind of skills come from all sorts of different experiences that you might have.
I made flyers that I put around the local community centre area. I posted on the local Facebook groups that I could find for any of the areas around Coventry. And then I also used the Nextdoor app and posted on there. And I think most people said that they found it either through the Facebook or through seeing a poster in the library itself. I was also quite intimidated by the marketing side of it and worried that I wasn't going to get enough people coming. But actually I found that there was a big response.
I found to get together my group of 10, I went to bookshops, I went to community centres, I even hung posters wrapped in plastic on the railings, park railings, and it was surprising that people had found these in all sorts of different places. Of course, there's a local community website as well. I put stuff on that. But I think it's fair to say that pretty much everybody came from a different route.
That is a big part of it, finding your venue, putting your leaflets out, and it's something that you can overly worry about. But what I would also say is that once you have your group, it's going to be such a wonderful, unique group. And it's going to whiz by, it's going to go so quickly, and I would say just enjoy every single moment of it.
They're so much more confident in their first impressions of a story. And at first I feel like I had to do a lot more work to get them to unravel the story, and I'd come with a huge list of questions prepared about the story that I was going to ask them and guide them through it step by step. And as time's gone on, I feel like I have to do a lot less work. I can kind of read them the story and then they take over, they know what to do from there. They trust their own instincts more.
What people say is that they have come to look at what they read much more carefully and much more closely, and to find the pleasure. I mean, this whole thing is about pleasure. to find the pleasure in looking at things closely. Now, that can be done on your own, but there's nothing like actually doing it with a group of people and finding your own perceptions and responses to a story modified by what other people are also experiencing.
Running the reading round has completely changed my writing personally and professionally, because I was always quite intimidated by short stories and poetry. I've always written full-length novels, and writing short stories is a completely different craft. You have such a short word count and you have to structure it completely differently, and you only have so many words to get across your message and develop character, and if you do it wrong, it's awful. And I was so intimidated by that. And having read so many now and prepared the stories for the group, I have such a greater appreciation for the craft of storytelling and kind of appreciation for the stories where they leave unanswered questions or leave it up to the reader to dig into it and unpick it. Since starting this group where you read a story without telling them anything about the author, and then you discuss it, and then you tell them the context, I've learned how much you have to trust what the author has given you and believe in their skill of, like, we are going to give you this information and you have to work out the rest for yourself. That's something I've come to appreciate a lot more.
It's given me an opportunity to explore different genres that I wouldn't perhaps look at, and because part of what I'm trying to do, part of what we're trying to do, is to really go broad, go through time, go into history, just go to lots and lots of different viewpoints. So it's been absolutely amazing for me personally to explore that aspect.
I really, as a child, never really picked up books, and this is a really new experience. This is enlightening. It really is illuminating for me.
It's okay to have all those ideas, and then it makes the reading group more enjoyable, and the way I see the world more enjoyable, actually.
I have noticed the hidden, let's say, treasure in me, or let's say hidden something. This has been a kind of discovery. Oh, I really love someone reading me the story.
It's been really lovely to kind of come out of my bubble of maybe who I'd normally talk to books about when these discussions start in the sessions. It's really lovely.
It's about us, it's about the human condition, it's about people. It's about relationships, it's about everything we ever experience in our lives, from birth to death. And I think it's not just for entertainment. I think it can nurture you. I think it can help you. It can give you a different perspective on so many things. It's just such a huge topic. And I think it's fundamental to mental health and well-being.